Okay, you guys, so here is my calendar for November. I have shared with you before, but I'll share again. The green numbers are the amount of items that sold that day, so green for money. The blue numbers on the bottom here, that's how many items I listed, and right next to it in the red is how many items I relisted. So for the month of November, you guys, as you can see, I haven't even finished filling out like my sales, just because things got really crazy with going away to Disney, and Thanksgiving was right after that. But I had a total of 91 sales in the month of November. I listed only 170 new items. I relisted 27 items. So 91 sales for the month of November is an average of 3 sales per day. That is not the goal. But in the video, I will get into details as to why I feel I had this kind of slower sales month, and it is all good. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive into my sales and a little more explanation as to why I think I had lower sales this month. Hey guys, welcome to the video. So today we're going to dive into some of my sales, not all of them. I usually I've only done this once before, maybe twice. But what I'm wanting to do is like my 10 best sales and then my 5 worst sales. So that's what I'm going to share with you guys today. As I said already, November was pretty terrible, but I do have some additional factors, personal factors that contributed to that. Other factors that are affecting everyone right now are, and we all know it, the economy is suffering, so people are not buying non-essential things as much. But for me, for my own personal factors that contributed to these low sales would be, earlier this month, I moved into my shed. So the shed is in my backyard, but I had to move everything in and I had to buy some things to make this space work. For example, if you watch the video, the tour of my office, I had to buy something for my laptop because it's not at a desk anymore, because this is a very small space. So I needed space saving things. And so it took some time to like shop for all the right things and then to move everything from the house into the shed. So that was at the beginning of the month. So the first week of November was focused on moving into the shed. Then on top of that, we had 2 of our kids' birthday in the month of November. So we have one right at the beginning of November and in the first week of November, and then one in the very last week of November. And then my father-in-law's birthday is in the middle. So we had a lot of birthday celebrations and get-togethers for that. So that's something else that took time away from me working when I normally put in some extra hours. And then to celebrate those birthdays, we took a 3-day trip to Orlando for Disney. And so it's 3 days for the trip, and then it's like another day for the packing and an unpacking. So that was another thing that wasn't the norm for us. Then of course we had a major holiday. Thanksgiving happened just as we got back from Disney, and it was a great day. It was, spent with family, but it was another full day that I took away from my business to just relax and be with family. But there was just a lot of that in the month of November for me. And then lastly would be YouTube. I think November is the first month where I actually put a video out every week. And while I said in my last video, I'm getting better at it and faster at editing and all of that stuff, it's still something that is taking time for me out of my business. So I have to really decide if it's going to be worth it, because I really enjoy this and I really enjoy connecting with you guys and sharing my journey with you guys. It's been so much fun. Being that I work from home, I am lonely, you guys. It's really nice to have this sort of connection. Yeah, I'm still getting faster and better at it, so I'm sure I can work it out into my schedule. But I would say that in the month of November, that is something else that contributed to me listing less and thus having less sales. So yeah, I'm not mad at all that I had a slow sales month. I know that I did not do everything that I could. Oh, I didn't mention the last thing. Another thing that I did was a ton of sourcing, and I'm not one to just source and not list, but I have my part-time seasonal employee who was here last year. She is returning in about a week, just a little over a week, and I am so excited. She is awesome. And last year I had her here, but last year we had a whole fiasco with my office and the damage that I had in there, which I've talked about a bunch on this channel. But this year we are in a new space, and hopefully won't have anything like that happen again that disrupted my business. So because she will be here in a week, the main thing that she does is like the prepping type of stuff. She does the steaming, hanging up the items, cutting tags if they have tags from the thrift store. Thankfully, the Goodwills near me don't do tags anymore. Every piece of clothing is $5.99 unless it's a half off day or some sort of sale, but for the most part it's $5.99, so they don't have tags anymore. So she will be spending a lot less time cutting tags off because I mostly shop at Goodwill. So because my part-time person mostly does the steaming and the photographing, I wanted to make sure that I had a ton of items for her when she got here. So that's why I spent a lot of time focusing on sourcing so that I have a bunch of inventory for her, because I'm not typically one to have a death pile, and I was pretty caught up with my inventory and thought, oh gosh, what am I going to do when she gets here, because I'm pretty caught up. I mean, I can just start shopping every day when she's here, but she's pretty quick. Like, she was here last year, and honestly on some days I had a hard time keeping up with her, so I wanted to make sure that she had plenty to process. Okay, so enough chit chat. My computer is here in front, so I'm going to be looking over to give you guys some more information, and let's go ahead and get right into it. Okay, you guys, so first on the list is this Catalina Collection bathroom faucet. So this one sold on eBay for $199 plus shipping. So they paid a total of $219, and then shipping ended up costing me $13.02. So this is a great one, you guys, because I paid absolutely nothing for this. And I know this is a non-clothing item and I mostly sell clothing, but I will sell everything and anything if there's profit to be made there. So the great thing about this item is that it was donated to me for free. So I've said it a million times, tell people what you do, because when they're cleaning out their closets or their home, they will think of you, because you're probably going to save them a trip to the thrift store. Because yeah, they'll just call you when you show up, they know what you do, you show up, you pick up the stuff, and you've saved them a trip. So this particular item came from my husband's ex-wife's father, so his ex-father-in-law. So yeah, tell everybody, because you never know who's going to donate stuff to you. And I actually received 2 of these items, and I just listed them probably about a month ago. They have been sitting in our garage for a while, but we recently had a yard sale for some of our personal stuff, and then I found these and a bunch of other items that were just sitting there waiting to be listed. So yeah, this one sold pretty quickly within a month, and I have another one to sell, so hopefully that one can sell soon for another $200. So that was a great sale, and that was my best sale of the month. Okay, you guys, I literally cannot stress enough that you need to tell people what you do, because this next sale, which was my second best sale, this one was on Mercari, and it was also something that was donated to me for absolutely free. I believe that I posted this in a haul, a thrift haul, something titled like free donations that we got, and it's someone, you guys, I have never met before. It is an acquaintance of my husband, like he's friends with her on Facebook, and they're not like good friends or anything, they're basically just acquaintances, but she knows what we do because I talk about it, I post about it, all the things. And when they were moving out of state from Florida to another state, they reached out to us with, I believe 2 times they reached out to us, 8 bags the first time and 8 bags the second time. Now, the majority of the items I could not list, I ended up donating, but there was quite a handful of items that I was able to list and have already sold. And these jeans were one of them, these Puma Evisu collab, and they sold for $79. And you guys, they sold pretty much within, I want to say 24 to 48 hours. And even during that time, they got a ton of likes and attention. I believe I got an offer on eBay for the same item just a couple hours after I accepted this one on Mercari. So I didn't decline that one, and that one was for like $59, I think. So I was very happy with this $80 sale. Okay, so this next sale was also on Mercari, and this was another fun one for me. This Audio Vox 8-inch DVD player, like really, who's using these things anymore? Well, I found this item on a new rack, and this is why I say I pretty much sell everything, because I go to my local Goodwills so often, and I have like 4 within 15 to 20 minutes of me, and I already know what they have in there for the most part. So when I go, I am looking at new racks, and oftentimes the new racks have hard goods on them. So because it's only a handful of items, I'm going to take the time to check comps on them. So this item, which isn't something I typically sell, I looked up the model number. The good thing about these type of items, like these electronics, is that they have model numbers, so you can just plug those right into eBay and really get like really good comps, as opposed to putting in something like J. Crew, like animal print top, you know, that's going to be like, you're going to get so many different types and styles, but this is very specific if you put in the model number. So I did pay $8 for this one, but it sold for $45 on Mercari, and my husband kind of made fun of me when I brought this one home. So I was really happy when it sold in just under 2 months. Yeah, that was a really good pickup for me. I love picking up things like this. This was pretty easy to ship. It wasn't very big at all. It was quite small. And yeah, I was really happy to have this sale on Mercari. Okay, so this next sale, now you guys, I'm showing you guys the items that sold for like the most money, not necessarily my highest profit. Now, I don't know what you guys would be interested in seeing the most, because I didn't have a very big profit on this item, but again, I sorted my spreadsheet from highest to lowest to show you guys the items that sold for the most amount of money. Now I paid, and I've said it in another video, I paid way too much for a bunch of St. John items from a boutique owner, a previous boutique owner. She moved to Florida from Georgia, and she had a boutique when she, or not a boutique, a consignment shop. She had a consignment shop in Georgia, and she brought all of her stuff with her. She met me, we met at Goodwill. It was really strange and really cool because she saw me with a cart full of items and asked me if I was a reseller. And normally I'm like, why are they asking me this? I feel like they're gonna, you know, curse me out or something. But I told her, yes, I am. And she said, great, I have a bunch of items that you might be interested in. So we exchanged information, and I don't know, you guys, I don't know what I was thinking. I paid way too much. I paid $26 a piece. I know, way too much, but I have already made like 3/4 of my money back, and I still have like 10 items to sell. So we're gonna make a profit there, but I don't know what I was thinking paying that much. So this item, another Mercari sale, which is interesting because I don't usually have higher sales on Mercari, but this one did sell on Mercari, and it sold for $44. Again, because of my high cost of goods, my profit was only $11.59. Again, let me know, you guys, in the comments if you would rather see my highest profit sales or my highest like sold sales, like what they sold for. I think I prefer to see what items are selling for, because then I could just, you know, factor that into my own cost of goods, like what am I willing to pay for that. But yeah, so this item sold for $44, and I only had it listed for just over a month. Okay, so the next item on my list sold on eBay, and they are these Kenneth Cole men's patent leather slip-on shoes. I paid $4.78 for these, and they sold for $43.98. Well, just under that. That total number includes the shipping that the buyer paid. And then I paid $7.35 for the shipping. So I will do a video for you guys on how I do shipping for eBay, but I pretty much have a set price that I do depending on the weight of an item, with the exception of larger hard goods that have odd shapes. That I will just do calculated. I will say exactly what the item weighs, what the box measurements are, and I'll just do calculated. But for clothing and shoes, I pretty much have a standard price, and sometimes I make money on shipping and sometimes I lose, so it's pretty much a wash there. But yeah, I listed these in September and they sold in November, so that was a pretty quick sale over on eBay. This next sale was also on eBay, and this was actually something we had listed for almost a year. We actually listed this in January, and it didn't sell till the end of the year. This was something that my husband picked up when he was reselling with me more. He's doing it a lot less these days because he has a job outside of the home now, but this did take a while to sell, and I remember he photographed it and he uploaded everything onto List Perfectly, and I remember needing to like call him over and saying like, what is this? I don't even know what category to put this in, but he helped me with that. And yeah, it ended up selling months later, but for $42. So the next item that sold over on Poshmark. I thought for sure this would be an eBay or Mercari sale, but it sold on Poshmark. It was a Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus in a rocking chair, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, one of them worked and the other didn't, or they were supposed to rock and sing and they only sang and didn't rock. Something to that effect, you guys. I list so much and I just feel like I look at so many things, I can't remember it all, but that's what I remember. It partially worked, and of course I put that in the listing, and it sold just around Thanksgiving time, so someone was getting ready for their holiday Christmas decorating, and that sold on Poshmark for $40. I paid $3.77 for the set at Salvation Army. This next one was a pretty fun sale. It was this ballerina dancer woven throw blanket that I purchased at a yard sale for $5, and the yard sale obviously was local to me, just like 5 minutes away from my home. The owners were super nice, and I remember just like talking to them for a bit. They were having a yard sale because they are looking to move out of Florida, and we were just discussing how really difficult it has gotten in Florida. Now I know it's bad everywhere, but Florida has really been hit hard with home insurance problems because of the last hurricane we had. So there are a ton of home insurance companies that have just checked out. They don't want to do anything with Florida anymore, and our home insurance premiums have really skyrocketed, and so that has been really difficult for a lot of people. And I've just been talking to more and more people who are trying to get out of Florida. And I remember when I moved here from New York, I think it was 10 years ago now. Yeah, I was 29, so it was a little over 10 years ago, because I just turned, oh no, I'm turning 42 next week. I think, you guys, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 42. Oh my God, that's crazy. But anyway, so yeah, I remember when I moved here and it was like the cheap place to live, and it really isn't any longer. But anyway, they were super nice, and it was just really nice to chat with them. And she had received this blanket as a gift because she opened up a dance studio where they originally lived in Massachusetts. And I believe this was a gift to her from her son, and she was pretty bummed about getting rid of it. But you know, when you move, you really got to think about everything that you own. Is it worth it to ship it? And it's not cheap to hire movers and all of that stuff. So she got rid of it, and I bought it and hopefully sold it to someone who absolutely loves it, because it was a really beautiful blanket. Okay, this next item, you guys, sold on eBay, and it was for these frame denim jeans. If you watched, I believe it was my very last haul, I was so excited to find frame denim jeans for the very first time, and I ended up taking an offer for $30 on eBay. Now they did sell pretty quickly after I listed them, but at this point it was November 20th, it was the end of the month, and I knew the month was looking really bad. So at this point I was starting to take any offer I got, if I even got an offer, because I was not getting offers. Like, it was crazy. I wasn't getting many watchers, likers on Poshmark. So yeah, I was a little bummed to only get 30 bucks for these, but I think that was pretty in line with a lot of the comps I saw anyway, so I was okay with that. And it was a very quick flip. Okay, you guys, pretty much the same exact thing goes for these Hunter boots. They sold a day after I listed them, but this was the 28th of November, when again, it was the end of the month and sales were terrible. So someone offered me $36 and I just went ahead and took it. I thought that was a pretty fair offer. I did pay $8 for these, and I knew I was paying up for them. I knew I wasn't gonna get more than like 40 bucks for them, but I made $20 profit on them very quickly. I purchased them in November, I listed them in November, and they sold in November. So not bad. Okay, you guys, now we're gonna get into my worst sales. Now this one sold on November 30th, the very last day of the month. I got desperate and said, you know what, I'm gonna send 55% off to everyone on Poshmark who's ever liked my item. So that's what I did. I set a 55% offer, and these ended up selling for $7, of course, with discounted shipping. I ended up making $2. I paid nothing for these. So these must have been donated to me, because I wouldn't typically pick these up anyway. So they were donated to me, and I must have been low on inventory at the time to even list them, but I did. And you know what? It doesn't take a lot of time for me to list a pair of pants. There's not much you can say about them. They already had like the name to them, the Martin Fit, Banana Republic. Like, it's just a super easy list. But yeah, they sold for $7 and I made $2 there. Okay, this next one that sold was a pretty bad sale, a pretty bad pickup. I have had this item for just over 2 years. This crew cut, which is J. Crew's children's line, which I have done well with, but this one I relisted it so many times. I even brought it to my local Once Upon a Child. They didn't want it, but I do live in Florida, so they don't have a real need for like warmer or colder weather clothing items. So I paid, let's see, what did I pay for this? $2.19, and it sold for $8 on Poshmark. So my earnings on that was $2.08, and that was 2 years ago. I have gotten better since then, right? That's all we can do is learn from our mistakes. Okay, this next one was a pretty bad pickup. It sold on Mercari, this Victoria's Secret vintage gold label. I remember when I found it just being so excited because everyone was talking about gold label, vintage, Victoria's Secret, and I should have checked my comps better, and I know I didn't. I just got excited with the label. This was not a silk piece, it was polyester, and I paid too much for it, $4.85. It sold for $8 on Mercari immediately after I relisted it. So, okay, I don't know where I was. My son knocked on the door. He just got home from school and the gym. But yeah, I was talking about this Victoria's Secret pretty bad pickup. I paid $4.85 for it. It sold for $8. Oh, that's what I was saying. It sold on eBay, and the person wrote to me right away and said, hey, I didn't mean to purchase that. Can you cancel it? So I was bummed because I was so excited to get it out of my house. But of course I hadn't shipped it yet, so I was perfectly fine with canceling it. And then as soon as I canceled it, I relisted it, and it sold as soon as I relisted it on Mercari for $8. So my earnings there was $1.47. And so yeah, Victoria's Secret gold label vintage pieces, some are sought after. I think the silk pieces do way better, and of course it depends on style. So if you're picking them up, I would just type in everything that's relevant to the item when you're checking your comps so that you have a good idea of what it can sell for. Okay, so this next bad sale, I'm really not even mad at, because this item, Tahara, I don't know the brand at all, size medium, a sequined little mini skirt. This arrived to me in May, I believe, of this year, so just a few months, in a thread-up rescue box, or I think that's what they're called. Not a rescue box, not the ones where you have to repair, but just a mixed box. Women's mixed box is what I got. When I counted everything and based on what I paid, I ended up paying $1.66 per each item. So this one, I mean, there were a lot of items that I ended up just bringing to Plato's, bringing to Goodwill to just donate. But at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure I definitely made a profit on the box on like the first maybe 10 items that sold. So that was a pretty good one. But this item I was really on the fence about even listing, but it was a skirt and it was just super easy. I had all the keywords in my head, so I figured I would just go ahead and list it. It sold for $10 on Poshmark with a discounted shipping. So my earnings there, I got my $1.66 back, and then I made an additional $3.37. But I was fine with that. Like I said, it was a pretty easy list, and I didn't source it. I didn't spend any time looking for it or anything like that. So I was pretty happy with that thread up box. I don't know that I would do it again. I just prefer to handpick my items. But yeah, I wasn't mad at that box at all. Okay, you guys, so that is it for my solds in November. Of course, I had many others, but I just wanted to show you guys some of the highlighted items. Again, I'm super happy and thankful to have received free donations, because literally my top 2 profit sales were from donations. So very, very grateful for that. December is here. It is now December 1st. I'm not sure when I'm going to post this, probably in the next day or two, but I am really, really needing to step it up with my listings and get a lot more items listed in the month of November. I should be able to do that with Rosie's help, but we are also going away to North Carolina for, I believe, 10 days. So that's going to be another day of packing for me and the kids and my husband, and I don't want to work while I'm there. I'm going to have Rosie here processing items. Of course, I'm going to have to do some things, probably at least a half hour to an hour every night before I go to bed. I do want to make a video for you guys on the things I do daily, like the things I absolutely do daily. And one of those is delist the items that have sold. So every night before bed, I will have to make sure that whatever sold is delisted from the other platforms. Other than that, Rosie should be able to do all of the other things, the processing, the steaming, the photographing, the uploading to List Perfectly. And I'm hoping to show her how to do listings, how to build a listing, at least for the month of December, so that I can still get some new listings up while I'm away for 10 days. Okay, so that is it, you guys. Let me know how your November went. I'm hearing it a lot that a lot of people had a great October. I felt like I did really well in October, and then we don't know what happened in November. But again, I have some factors that contributed to that. So I'm not going to sit here and say that it was just a terrible month and I don't know what happened, because I do kind of know what happened for me with those factors that I talked about. So let me know how your November went and what your goals are for the month of December. And if you made it this far, you guys, consider subscribing and liking the video and coming back for the next one. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.